Hello again, watch friends. Welcome back. This Grand Seiko is very special to me for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's a Grand Seiko. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Grand Seiko, it's pretty much the cream of the crop from Seiko Watch Company. Seiko does make even more expensive models called Creedor, but they're in the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 range, which is beyond my means and perhaps beyond many of those who are watching this. But Grand Seiko is a brand that competes very well with luxury Swiss watches in the mid to upper $1,000 range. So it is a Grand Seiko. It's beautiful. It's extremely well finished, excellent movement, high quality. Secondly, it's very special to me because it was given to me by my wife for our 25th wedding anniversary. So it has a special meaning to me whenever I wear it. It's not a daily wearer. It is a dress watch after all, but I do wear it on date nights and when I dress up, and it has a very special meaning. So it's the Grand Seiko SBGM021. It's a automatic mechanical GMT watch. GMT, otherwise known as second time zone. And it also has, as you can see, a date complication. So two complications, GMT hand. And if you look closely, you can see that GMT hand, which is pointing right now to about 2300. Here's the GMT hand, hour hand, minute hand, second hand, obviously. So let's talk about the specs on this watch. It's 39.5 millimeter in diameter, 13.7 millimeters thick. You can see it's a little bit on the chunky side, kind of thick for a dress watch, not overly so. Has a signed crown, the Grand Seiko logo there. The lug-to-lug distance is about 47 millimeters, not quite 47, just a shade under 47. And the lugs curve down, so it's not very long, and it fits nicely on the wrist of almost any kind of wrist. Looking at the dial, we see it has a beautiful, creamy, ivory colored dial. And often when you see this watch in pictures, especially on the Grand Seiko official website, the pictures just don't do it justice. You have to see this watch in person to see how really nice it looks. It's got a 72-hour power reserve. The accuracy of the movement, which is a 9S66 movement, exceeds cost specifications. And you can see the Grand Seiko logo on the bottom there. You can see the rotor has Tokyo stripes. There we go. Really nicely finished. Stainless steel case, obviously. And it's 30 meter water resistant. So it's about 100 feet. Obviously not for swimming, not for showering. And I'd be even a little bit cautious about doing the dishes with this watch on my wrist. The crown is not a screw down crown, so you have to be a little bit careful, as you would with any kind of watch that has about 100 feet water resistance. The strap is a crocodile leather strap. It comes with a deployant clasp. Notice the, let me get the right orientation here. Notice the Grand Seiko. Oh, it is upside down. I guess I should have my glasses on. Notice the Grand Seiko logo on the buckle. And interestingly, many watches that come from Japan come with the clasp side down, as you can see here, and the tail toward the top. That's kind of opposite what most of us are used to. Not a big problem. Notice all the hands, the hour hand, minute hand, are extremely highly polished. They have mirror surfaces. And it looks a little bit retro, I think, but in a modern sort of way. By the way, the movement includes a anti-magnetic Sprawn hairspring and mainspring. Sprawn is a proprietary material that Seiko makes. And you can see that it's just really attractive. Notice the very nice minute track around the outer dial there. You can see the hour markers are faceted and somewhat jewel-like. Really plays off the light. A little hard to see here with my lighting. The date window is framed, and the date is actually a little bit larger, maybe 1.5 times larger than you might normally see on a watch with the date at 3 o'clock. Has a sapphire crystal, box-shaped sapphire crystal. You can see the crystal there. The crystal is coated on the inside, on the inner surface, with anti-reflective coating. Again, Seiko's own proprietary material for doing that. And as I mentioned, the exhibition case back. I'd like to explain how to use the GMT function on this watch, or other watches that have works in a similar way. So if you look at the GMT hand, by the way, that is a blued. You can see there the GMT hand now pointing to 1800. So let's say it's 10 o'clock where I am in New Jersey, which is where I am. So I pull the crown out. I move the entire hands to have the GMT point to 20, which is 10 o'clock in 24-hour time, of course. And then let's say I am going to Paris. I'm on a flight tonight, going to arrive tomorrow. I think Paris is, Paris, France, that is, not Paris, Texas. Paris is about 6 hours ahead of the East Coast of the United States. It's either 6 or 5 hours ahead. I get confused because of daylight saving, so let's say it's 6. So then I would move the crown out to the first position and then just rotate the hour hand to, so it's really 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, so it'll be 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to rotate the hand to 4 o'clock. Notice when I rotate the hour hand, the minute hand and the seconds do not stop. So it's not going to interrupt the accuracy of your previous setting. And push the crown back in. So now the way to read this is the traditional hour minute hands is local time when I'm in Paris. It's 4 o'clock in the morning there. But I can also see that the second time zone is pointing to 20, so it's 10 o'clock. So that's one way to use this watch. The other way is to set the GMT hand to your new time and use the hour hand for your local time. But to me, I think that's a little bit confusing. It's much easier just to glance at the watch, see what time it is. It's 4 o'clock in the morning in Paris, and because of the 24-hour dial, inner dial there, you know whether it's AM or PM, and you know it's 10 PM on the East Coast. So here it is on my wrist. You can see it looks really quite nice. If I can get the reflection off, avoid the reflection from the light. Let me move that away. And the beautiful quark leather strap. There's a deployment buckle. And as I mentioned, it's the opposite direction that you normally expect. You would normally expect to have this tail pointing down the other way, but that's not a big deal. The strap is a 19mm lug width, so it's a little bit more difficult to find a replacement strap, but I'm not sure why you'd want to. The strap goes very well with a dial. And of course, there's the Grand Seiko logo on the bottom and Seiko on the top. Now, Seiko has rebranded their watches in the middle of this year. It's 2017. So it no longer says Seiko at the top. Now the watches only say Grand Seiko. You'll see a picture of the new version. The new version is the SBGM021 as opposed to this one, which is the SBGM021. Everything else is exactly the same movement inside, the same case, the same dial. The only difference is they've increased the retail price by $200. So the new version is $4,600 retail price, whereas this one was $4,400 retail price. Such a nice watch. Love that creamy ivory dial. So what do I like about this watch? Well, it's a modern classic, I think. It's a beautiful watch, very dressy. I have worn it with casual clothes. It does work that way, but it's really not a sport watch. It's really a dress watch. I love the 24-hour time. The fact that you can see the 24-hour time on the inner dial, but it's not intrusive. It's sort of a subtle addition to the watch. And the jewel-like applied hour batons. I mean, the finishing is just incredible. The hands, the hour markers. It's just the case. It's just really, really nice. And when you wind it, it's just so buttery smooth. Of course, it's automatic, so the rotor is going to spin when you have it on your wrist and wind itself that way. What don't I like about the Grand Seiko GMT? Well, I don't like the fact that on the bottom, this is a very minor point, but see at the bottom where it says automatic in all capital letters? That's sort of, it doesn't quite fit, I don't think. Very minor point, of course. I don't like the non-standard strap width of 19 millimeters. Again, that's another minor point. It's a little thick on the wrist, so it doesn't quite fit under the sleeve as well as it could. And there's no quick set date, but interestingly, when you have to set the date, you have to pull the crown out to the first position, and when you move the hour hand, it then advances the date. But interestingly, as I said, when you move the hour hand, you can change the date both forward and backward. So it's not quite as annoying as some watches where it only moves forward, and if you want to change the date, you might have to go around 30 days to get to the correct date. Here you can go backwards as well. So that overcomes that minor point. So that's the Grand Seiko SBGM021. It's a really nice watch. Again, if you haven't seen Grand Seikos in person, You really need to, because until you see the quality, you feel it, you wind it, and you see it, you see how beautiful it looks, you really can't appreciate it. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.